episode number 10. We have made it. You know, they have this theory, the saying that 90% of podcasts don't make it past episode 3. Well, the fact that I've made it to episode 10, I think is worth noticing and mentioning. But I do appreciate every single one of you for tuning in and enjoying the ride that we've been on. I do appreciate every single one of you. If you don't know me or what I do, my name is Nick Gelderks. I am the founder, director of Triple J. If you don't know what Triple J is, per se, a Triple J basically is a platform that pursues to educate you when you could maybe fall into the umbrella of a digital marketer, an entrepreneur, a business owner, or just a like-minded business professional. And I want to provide you with the best content on the planet that helps you to expand and grow your business and brand. You know, whether that's through your own personal brand or your own enjoyment. You know, my goal is to provide you with industry-first deliverables that analyze market trends and assist your strategies in building marketing principles. So, obviously, with the Triple J podcast, the show you're watching now, we have what's called shows within the show. So today's show for episode 10, we have another Q&A. I'm really looking forward to answering these questions that you guys have sent in. But if you have questions throughout the Q&A or just want to ask me a question in general, there are a couple different ways in which you can do that. Okay, the first way is to message me on my LinkedIn at Nick Gelderks. It's very easy. You can also find this within today's show notes. Or if you want to, you can go ahead and go to my website at triplejstudios.com and you can fill out the contact form there, ask me any questions for the podcast. Or the other way is you can simply email me your questions into triplejstudios with 2 S's at the end at gmail.com. It's a very simple way that you can do that. All of those ways will be mentioned in today's show notes. We also have other shows. Other times we will have Real Talk. Real Talk is basically a 5 to 20 minute segment where I give you some real talk, some counsel, a marketing lesson or two to basically give you more insight and advice towards things that you should or should not include within your principles. It's pretty simple. We also have one of my favorite segments, which is the marketing case study deep dives. So if you're not familiar with that, we've done a couple episodes already. So if you want to go take a look at those, you're more than welcome to. It's basically just me deep diving in on my marketing case studies that I've done in the past. And so put out a case study yesterday that is available on both my LinkedIn and my website. That episode will be out next week. You can look forward to that. The other type of format we have is the PTI, the Peruse the Internet, where I peruse the internet and take a look at emerging marketing trends and evaluate whether you should or should not include the strategies that mega retailers, other brands, Fortune 500 companies are using. Okay, and the last format that we have is the typical run-of-the-mill guest format. That is coming very soon, and I'm looking forward to sharing that with you here very soon. Before we begin this Q&A, I have one thing and one thing only, and that is called the fee. And no, it is not revolving around money. If you don't know what the fee is, it's very simple. If you find this show here or any other shows interesting, you take something away, if it makes you think, if it makes you laugh, you find it valuable, or you think someone you know might find this valuable, the only thing that I ask is that you share the show. Okay, that's really all it is. And that way it helps me to know that you guys enjoy the content and you want me to keep making it. And in all honesty, it's really just a way of saying thank you. Being able to share that with other people and expanding the network. So if you want to, go ahead and share the show. If you don't find it valuable, then you don't have to. But if you know me, I like to make things valuable. So that's what we're about. So with that being said, let's get into this new Q&A. I enjoy these because I enjoy hearing what you have to say and enjoying the different questions you have. Because a lot of times they might involve different brands or topics or just other strategies that I just am either not aware about or don't know of or just don't cover. So it's cool to do that. So send in your questions. All right, let's get into this first one here. I'm going to read it off and then we'll jump right into it. All righty, it reads, "Hey Nick, Tiger Woods recently left Nike to start a new clothing line. It's called Sunday Red. He chose the name because it's that Wow, I can't even read. He chose the name because it's what he wears on Sunday, and every golf fan knows this. First, do you like the name, and do you think it reflects well on his golf career? Also, any comments on the logo? Considering the past comments about the sniper method, Is this the perfect storm of an influencer starting something new? This is a lot to unpack here, and this is a great question. So if you're not familiar with Tiger Woods, you've probably been sleeping under a rock for the past 20 years or so. I would consider, I know this is going to come up at some point, Tiger Woods, in my opinion, is the greatest golfer of all time. You can take a look at all of his different accolades, which is actually part of his logo, which I will get into in a second. But he has one of the most decorated golf careers of all time. I mean, he's won all the major tournaments. He's done tons of different business ventures. What he's been able to do compared to the rest of the golf game is phenomenal. There was actually something I saw on Instagram, of all reliable places I know, where during the kind of live golf era, when that started, when a bunch of players left to get more money, Tiger maintained his integrity and stayed with the PGA Tour. And because of that, the PGA Tour is in talks of, giving and rewarding players with a nice bonus package for those that decided to stay, that were offered a, chance to play on the live golf tour. So because he decided to stay and maintained his integrity, the PGA Tour is maintained pretty well. And, he's been the face of the PGA for, what seems like multiple decades, to be honest with you. I mean, since I was born, he was that dude in golf. I mean, that's real talk right there. That's not a real talk segment, but that's some real talk. So let's break down this question so that way I can give you the best overall guidance for it. So yeah, he did choose this brand, Sunday Red, and the reason why is because Tiger Woods has been known for wearing red every single Sunday during his tournaments. And the story behind that is actually pretty cool. So when he was playing in his amateur era, before he started his PGA run, his mom always told him to wear red on Sundays. And that was just what he had. And so every time Tiger would wear red, he would always win the tournaments. Well, there was one day when Tiger was like, you know what? I don't really want to wear red. Kind of over it. I want to wear blue on Sunday. And his mom, pretty stubborn, was like, you know what? Fine. Go wear blue. See what happens. I don't know. And of course, as I'm sure you could imagine, Tiger did not win when he was wearing blue. There's a reason why this brand is called Sunday Red and not Sunday Blue. It's because every time he wore red, and generally he did pretty well. And it stuck like that all throughout his majors. He's won all his major tournaments wearing red. Most of the trophies that you see him holding, he's wearing red. So it should be no surprise why this brand is called Sunday Red. Do I like the name, and do you think it reflects well on his golf career? Excuse me. I love the name. It's very simple. I think one of the big things when it comes to building a brand is you want to have a simple name that everyone knows, that everyone can be like, oh yeah, that's Sunday Red. That's Tiger's brand. And everyone within the golf community knows that Tiger is predominantly known for wearing red on Sunday. So the fact that his brand is called Sunday Red makes a lot of sense. It's easy to remember, and it's very easy to recognize the certain brand, especially with the logo. Okay, so I do like it, and I do think it is powerful. And it also reflects his career. Like I said, it's wearing red for him. Honestly, anytime you see red within the golf world, the first person you think of is Tiger Woods. Unless you're thinking of somebody that's came before him, you're probably thinking of Tiger when you see the color red. So I think it does reflect it pretty well, and I would assume so too. Any comment on the logo? So this is where I really want to get into the actual website itself and kind of just showcase a little bit of the collection and what the whole brand is about. So I'm going to share my screen here with you here really quick, and that way we're able to get things going here. I'm trying to adjust Zoom settings here too. Let's see if I can do that. Okay. All right, hopefully my face isn't too much in the way, but we're going to do this like it. All right, so this is the Sunday Red website. Obviously, this is Tiger Woods here. If you have not seen what this man looks like, he is a phenomenal golfer, and he's decked out head to toe. So he first debuted his new brand, I believe at the Genesis Invitational of 2024. I believe that's when he did it. It could have been 2023, but very recently. This hasn't been around for that long. And it's been teased throughout this year through him wearing it at golf tournaments. It's been on display throughout all of his tour events, and it officially released to the public May 1. So as of today, it's been out for, not even a month. It's been out for a little over 2 weeks. And this brand's doing really well. I mean, you can clearly see here it has one of the most influential athletes of all time. Take a look, it gets right into the collection. Now, right away, before I get into the logo, I just want to share with you just some of what the pieces go for and what you can expect. So obviously here, you can take a look at the different prices. And yeah, this is a more expensive golf brand. But what you're getting is quality. This is not like a mediocre type of quality with, an influencer vouching for it. This is a really high quality piece. And it's high quality because Tiger Woods is wearing this all of the time at his events. He's not wearing anything else. He's wearing this. So you can see him actually in the design process as well. You're able to see the different colorways, the different details within the fonts, the texts, the logos, everything here. And you're able to really take a look at. You have what I think is one of my favorite things when it comes to influencer marketing is their actual favorite pieces. And so you actually are able to shop Tiger Woods' favorite pieces here, whether it's a hoodie, a t-shirt, the pants. And by the way, most of the stuff is featured on the tour. So let's stop here. Let's take a look. So obviously SDR stands for Sunday Red. Now, the logo itself, obviously, am I going to miss the iconic Nike Tiger Woods logo? Yeah, I'm going to miss it. But I do think that this logo is an upgrade. And here's why. If you take a look here, obviously this is a tiger, right? That should be pretty self-explanatory. But if you notice within the tiger, there are 15 stripes on this particular one. Now, at first, I would just think, okay, that's just the design. But there's actually a greater significance than that. That actually hasn't been marketed that much. The reason behind the 15 stripes actually resemble and reflect the 15 major championship wins that Tiger Woods has had throughout his entire career. And he wanted to reflect that within his new logo, which I think is a brilliant idea. And so do I appreciate the logo? Yeah, this logo is phenomenal. It stands out. It's bold. It's unique. It has significance. It goes beyond what you see at face value. It actually shows the recognition. And honestly, it's a walking billboard and trophy. You're showcasing your accolades here. So it makes sense, right? I don't think there's anything wrong with this. I honestly think this is great. So let's take a look and answer the last part of this question, which is considering the past comments about the sniper method, is this the perfect storm of an influencer starting something new? I'll go ahead and say this. There are very few influencers, athletes, whoever, that can actually branch off from a parent company and start something completely on their own. There's very few people that have done that in the past. Okay, Tiger Woods is one of them, obviously. There have been a couple others as well. Stephen Curry has done this with Under Armour, even though his Curry brand is technically a sub-branch under Under Armour. It's technically his own brand, and he's able to sign other professional athletes. In fact, one of the first athletes for Curry brand was Kings point guard De'Aaron Fox. Okay, so he's able to have an actual brand under a parent company. Obviously, the most iconic one is Jordan brand with Michael Jordan. That is, another sub-company under Nike, even though it is astronomically, I can't even talk, astronomically big. It is crazy how Jordan has grown. And this is another one too. Do I think other athletes can do it over time? I do think so, but it's very limited. And the reason for that and the reason how you can get to that point is you have to be so good at your game. You have to be, I would say, arguably considered within the GOAT conversation. Okay, obviously Michael Jordan is, I would say, the GOAT. Stephen Curry, you can put within that conversation. Tiger Woods, you can put in that conversation for golf. Okay, so there are circumstances where athletes have done this, but you have to be at the pinnacle of your sport to do this. And Tiger Woods is in that category, obviously, no doubt. Could other golfers do this? I think over time, of course. I think McIlroy could probably do something like this. He's been on top for a while. Depending on how Scottie Scheffler's career turns out, he definitely could as well. If you're not familiar with these names, do some homework, do yourself a favor. go take a look at this. Okay, their work is crazy when it comes to their accolades and championship wins. But one more thing I want to showcase for you guys, and this is an ad that I found on Instagram that kind of showcases Tiger Woods' highlights here. So I want to watch this with you guys. It's very cinematic. Good feature of the logo there. It's working out, hard work. Leather logo there, color placement there, details. Shows the history of his career, his talent. Same font. Very cinematic. A very cinematic job. This was a great ad. No surprise. With Tiger Woods, obviously, this is his deal. This is his gig. This is what he loves doing. And he killed it. So hopefully that answers your question in terms of Sunday Red and Tiger Woods. Like I said, this brand is rocking right now. And I think this is the last thing I'll end with for this question. A lot of people have been talking about the prices. They're like, man, that's a lot of money. Like $90 for a t-shirt. Like, who can do that? Well, here's the thing that you have to realize. One, it's a quality brand, okay? A lot of golf companies nowadays, they're looking for like that higher quality type of deal. And there's a bunch of them out there. I think I can't necessarily mention all of the different names, but this is not a uncommon thing within the golf world. And two, it's not necessarily targeting younger audiences here like Nike does. Nike targets younger players, okay? If you have the money and the financial capital to go out and buy a $100 t-shirt and be associated with Tiger Woods' brand, you're most likely within the 30s and up, pretty much, the people that can actually afford it. And the product speaks for itself. I mean, you can see here the stitching, the quality, the design, everything is very well done, okay? And you are getting a quality shirt out of this and not some Hanes shirt, okay? So I just encourage you to go take a look at it, go browse the website, because it really is really well done. But with that being said, let's get into the second question. Let's do it. Needed a water break there for a second. It reads, "Hey Nick, I'm new to marketing, but came across your podcast and found it very insightful and right up my alley. I'm currently looking and in the process of building a brand myself and was wondering what is the best way to build up my brand for the future. I don't want it to be a flimsy one and done type of thing. I want it to last a long time and without fail. What are your thoughts on this?" All right. You want to build a brand. I'm going to tell you how to build a brand. Any successful influencer or company or product, whatever it is that has a brand, you need to have a consistent narrative the entire way. And this was actually something that I was talking about with one of my roommates recently. I was telling him to join with another one of his best friends that's also within the videography and photography space, and they can build up a company. Those two guys can for sure do it. They have the experience, they have the skills, they have the equipment, and they have the network. All the things that you need to do. And one of the main concerns was, I know they do different projects. They like one thing, he likes another thing. Totally fine. But how does it really relate to when we're trying to build out this business? And that's a really reasonable question. So you want to align yourself. And here's the answer to that. You can do whatever project you want. You can start whatever project you want. You can work with different companies in this space, and that space, and wherever. But the thing that you want to have and maintain is the integrity of your narrative and your brand ethos. Okay, this is something that I showcase within Actually, a lot of my marketing case studies, okay, a lot of the recent ones too, especially with Pata and Kith and Tag Ower, all of these different companies, they have a bunch of different collaborations and projects that they're currently working on, and they're all over the place. But the reason why they've been able to branch out and do them and still maintain the level of success that they've been able to get is because of their brand ethos. And so if you're starting a brand today in 2024, what is the thing that you need to have? You need to have a consistency within your brand narrative, your brand story, your brand ethos. You need that, okay? And all of the major companies are doing it, okay? Let me just shoot a couple off for you, okay? Apple's is simplicity, okay? If you don't think Apple's is simplicity, you've been living under a rock, okay? If you've bought any Apple product or you have one, which statistically you probably are, you're probably listening to this right now on an Apple product. The way that you were able to set up your product, your phone, computer, was stupid easy, okay? Real talk. It was probably easier than it needs to be, okay? Amazon's is convenience. You want to get a product within a couple hours? Okay, boom, it's there. It's not hard, okay? Nike's is about victory and man, I don't even know how to describe it, but honing in on your champion-like mentality. That's all it is. And if you don't believe me, take a look at all of the athletes they have and they have signed. All of them possess the champion mentality. From LeBron James to the past Kobe Bryant to Travis Kelce to, you could make a list of this that goes on and on and on. All of them have it, okay? And that's just a sample of what it is, okay? Louis Vuitton's is luxury and fashion and top of the line materials and quality and giving you that I'm wealthy type of look to it, okay? It's not just about the quality of the product. It's also about the feeling that you get when you have the product and the type of message you're portraying out to everybody else, okay? That's just a small sample for companies that I just gave you, okay? And the list goes on. And their brand consistency is better than any other companies out there because they've been able to do it, okay? Louis Vuitton has been able to cycle through different creative directors because they have that consistency within their brand narrative, okay? From when it was Virgil Abloh to now when it's Pharrell Williams to when they have other collaborators help with the design, that has been a constant for them. And that is also the reason why their brand sells better than any other brand in the world right now. So that is the number one thing you need. You need to have consistency and integrity within your brand narrative. And you need to have a story. You need to share that story with people, okay? Especially if you are building a personal brand yourself. If you're building a personal brand, you need to have a story. There's no doubt about it. Even if you're a company, you need to have a story. And there's examples of when companies have a great story and when some companies don't, okay? So I want to showcase one company. This is just an example. I'm not trying to, take shots fired, on one or another. But this is what I want to share with you. Okay, so if you're familiar with this company, this is AMC. Okay, one of the stock boomers in 2021. Look, the theater market is still there, despite what people are telling you. It's still there because it's tough to beat an in-movie experience. You go in massive screen, crazy snacks, all this stuff. That experience is still wanted. The problem with AMC is that they don't really portray it that well within their marketing. And here's the thing. Most of their marketing that they do is really only displayed once you get into the theater. Now, why is that? How come they don't have their TV ads that they play during the previews out in the TV and like different commercials and such? I mean, if people are watching TV, they're generally going to see AMC at some point in their life. How come they're not doing that? It's a very curious thought. I'm just going to leave that there for you to think about. And if you have other questions, you send them my way and I'll answer them for you. But part of it is you need to be able to share that story. And while AMC does a great job of sharing that story when you're there, they tend to have a challenge when it comes to sharing that story once you leave the property. So how do you do it? Well, if you're AMC, you need to figure out where are people spending their time. It's clear that they like spending their time with you when they get to the movie because they're spending 2, 3, even 4 hours sometimes at the theater. So where are you going to see your people? Well, you're going to see your people watching TV and on social media. And if you're able to do that consistently and actually build an audience outside of the theater, you're going to get more people in and wanting to learn more about what's going on. That's just naturally how it happens. When people are curious, they're going to take a look around. It might not mean they go for a movie a month. It might just mean one movie a year. Okay, that's one more movie than what you had before, and you're able to keep building that up and figure it out. So the point being is you need to have a story within everything that you do. And so part of their stories actually relate to their movies, which is, I think, a very unique strategy too, in terms of the movies that they have. So you're able to see different ones that are coming out, some of the more prominent ones. I'm going to be honest with you, I have not I don't think I've been to the theater in, 5 years, if more than that. I'm just not a movie guy. Don't get on me. I like movies, not most, just a few. But it's cool to see. And I also didn't know Grimace had his own movie too. Kind of weird. If you're listening to an audio, go take a look at the video on Spotify. It'll make sense for you. But you need a story. You need a story in everything. And if you want to build a brand, whether personal or corporate, you need that. Because the brands that do well, that is something they do 100% of the time. And the next thing is you need to build a community. Okay, I think this is fairly simple and fairly easy to understand. If you don't have a community of people that can build a relationship with and build a cause around, how are you going to expect them to give you money? Even if you have a great product, if you don't have a community, it's hard to retain customers. And it's a lot easier to retain your customers than to go out and get new ones. Okay, just take a look at the corporate world. Okay, it's a lot easier for companies to retain their current employees by paying them more in exchange for going out and getting new ones at a cheaper cost. It just is. Because then you have to train them, you have to teach them, guide them, walk them through their mistakes. Whereas if you just retain your current employee, all you got to do is pay them more and they know everything. So there's levels to this is what I'm trying to say. All right, let's get into our third and final question for today's Q&A. Looking forward to this one. All right, question number 3 reads, Nick, I'm curious. You cover a lot of brands that are doing well, but where do you think brands are missing the mark? What are most companies missing within their marketing efforts, and how should they pivot to resolve these matters? Yes, this is a great question, and one, and honestly, which I'm thankful that you asked. Here's the deal. Do brands struggle with their marketing time to time? Absolutely. All brands go through it. In fact, I think every single brand will at some point. If you go from a one-man show to a 10-person company, you're going to need a different marketing strategy. Just as if you go from a team of 50 to a team of 200, and a team from 1,000 to 10,000, you're going to need different marketing, okay? That's just how it is. So the best way that I can describe how brands are going wrong and how they can fix it is within this simple diagram from actually one of my favorite authors. Throughout my time in high school, I was in leadership throughout my 4 years and even in college as well. And one of the most prominent names that was constantly getting recycled through and thrown around within different topics and discussions was Simon Sinek. He is, I would say, one of the biggest empowering leaders today in the world, not so much on the political side, but just more so within sharing how leadership works and how it can be really effective, whether you're with an organization, a nonprofit, within your team, within your school, whatever. He does a really good job, and he's been on several different TED Talks about this. So I want to share with you this diagram that he consistently uses throughout all of his different topics and discussions. So I'm going to share my screen with you here real quick, and let's get right into this. Okay, so hopefully you guys can see this. This is Simon Sinek's most famous diagram, okay? And so if you're not familiar with this, I'm going to break this down for you. The reason why most brands struggle today is because they start with the what. Then they go to the how, and then they go to the why. The what is, what do you do? What does the company do? What do they sell? For some people it's, I sell shoes. I sell basketball shoes, okay? If I'm Dick's Sporting Goods, I sell basketball shoes. It's fun. Well, how? Well, we sell them through excellent customer service because, we like to have a team-oriented background. We've been raised in sports, and we want to make sure that the upcoming community is, well prepared and equipped for their efforts. Well, why do you do that? Well, we do it because we want to make an impact on our community. We want to inspire the younger generations to go out, build camaraderie and team chemistry, and to really get the most out of life and the skills, whether soft or hard skills, that they'll use for the future. Okay, so that's not a bad take, but the problem is that they're doing all of this in reverse of what they should be doing. Okay, instead, what they should be doing is this. Well, if I'm Dick's Sporting Goods and I want to sell basketball shoes, how do I do that? Well, the big thing here, and this is a title of his book, is you need to start with why. Why are you doing this? What is your cause? What do you believe in that's actually going to help you? Okay. Now, one quick note, this is not my diagram that I made. I found this off of Google, but I want to use it because I think it's useful. Okay. So not taking this as my own. So if I'm Dick's Sporting Goods and I'm selling basketball shoes, what is my why? Well, for Dick's Sporting Goods, we want to empower the younger generations into building team camaraderie, sports-like mindsets, and teaching kids soft and hard skills that will be beneficial to them throughout their younger adolescent and adult livelihoods. And so we want to do that by providing excellent customer service from employees that have been within the sports mindset for years and years and years. They grew up in this from elementary school, middle school, high school, even college, and showcase what it really is like to fulfill our mission and purpose. And what we do through that is we sell basketball shoes and equipment to our customers. Now that sounds a lot better. Would you agree? Now, here's a quick exercise for you to do if you're a company owner, a business owner, or a brand owner. Write down these three things. Write down your why, write down your how, and write down your what. Okay? Build that out. That is a big deal. Hold on. I have an important call. But here's the deal. Those three things are important when it comes to building your why, your how, and your what. If you're trying to build your brand into something bigger than you, into something stronger than you, something that's going to last a lot longer, you need to have this why in place. And it's ultimately the reason why some companies haven't been doing well and why they haven't, because they just haven't been keeping up with this and they haven't been innovating. So if you're able to do those two things, you will see progress and you will begin to see your business turn around. But guys, that is the Q&A for today. Those are the three questions. Again, if you have questions, the ways you can ask them are down in the show notes below. Remember to pay the fee if you enjoyed today's show, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.